Welcome back to our 10-minute mentor sessions. Today we have the lovely Tim Lloyd from Mind Maps Wellbeing. Mind Maps are our new mental health and wellbeing mentors. And so you might have been familiar and met Michael before. We don't get to see Tim as often, but Tim is a very, very knowledgeable man when it comes to the mental health side of things. And today he's going to be talking about compassion and competition. So welcome, Tim, as our mentor. How are you?
Thank you, Lisa. I'm very well, thank you. And it's great to be here with you today, talking through these things.
So just before we start, so your background, do you want to explain your background as to obviously what makes you, in this field that you're doing now, what makes you so knowledgeable?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I've worked in mental health services for 20 years now, mostly in the NHS and mainstream, variety of different settings, and as a mental health nurse.
Yeah.
And I'm also associate lecturer with the Open University, so I support student mental health nurses through their nursing degree programme on the practical element of their degree, because nursing degrees have kind of the two sides to them. So rather than the stuffy academic stuff, it's really the on the ground floor, putting it to practice.
Which is important, isn't it? That's, it's where it happens. So it's...
Yeah, absolutely. There's the crucial skills there that they're imparting to those students to carry forward in their career, which is cool stuff that I think most people should have those basic skills. And it's really my job with them is taking it right back to the basics of kind of fundamental human responses. I do a lot of work around that with students. And I'm co-founder with Michael of Mind Maps Wellbeing, and we've been established now for 3 years as a mental health training provider. So we, as you said, we provide things like mental health first aid training, other bespoke awareness courses, and guidance and support for employees in the workplace as well. So we've got a group of trainers now who are all registered mental health professionals, who can also provide clinical support. So, and it's really good time. Employers seem to be really waking up to this at the moment. So we're getting lots of kind of interest there, which is great.
Brilliant. Well, it's good to have you on board and say mental health is just as important as physical health, and I think it's very important. And there's going to be a lot of people out there that are, solopreneurs and all that kind of thing. I was going to say the wrong word then, and for them to be able to have a resource like this to get some information from you guys is amazing, and we're obviously proud to have you as mentors. So, compassion and competition. What's that all about then, Tim?
Well, it's kind of, for me, it was a challenge, I think, coming into a kind of business world, if you like, from working in the NHS in a caring role, to suddenly into this kind of self-employed mode where business, and I've learned so much in the last 3 years around business models, and obviously I've got Michael's help there where he sees the most of that. But the real issue that arose for me was kind of how we balance that, the impact we have on our competitors and how we view them, and also how we can support each other to do, if we're looking to really achieve the same goals. And that kind of mindset of really uncomfortable kind of with me, the kind of dog eat dog world of business. It's kind of course, strengths based and quality based comparisons, but rather than saying, oh, my competitors don't do this, I've kind of taken to the mindset of, we do this. This is how we do things, and then allow the consumer to make their own decisions on who they choose. Because I know, certainly, I guess in your world with networking, people do talk, and I'm sure they share their views on competitors. And I know that some networks won't even allow competition within their network. There are some,
Yeah.
I think, where we'll only have one of those in our kind
Yeah.
of fold.
Yeah.
And those kind of networks again sat uncomfortably with me, and I'm thinking, why can't we, grow alongside each other and draw along, that if we're setting out the same goals and we're on the same mission, why would I want to put a competitor down? Really, it's kind of
I agree.
where I'm at.
I agree totally. I get very frustrated by that kind of thing because I genuinely think that everybody, whether we're all in the same industries or whatever, we should just work together and help each other. And you know, it takes a lot more energy to sit there and be name calling and all the rest of it. Whereas actually, why don't you put that energy into the positive sides of things? And actually, I don't think people think about the mental health side of things. And recently myself, I had this very thing happen because while I was ill in bed with COVID, I got people sending me messages saying, "I'm sorry to hear you've lost your job." And I hadn't lost my job, but the expo was postponed. And so, whilst people saying stuff like that meant well, actually, I'm in bed with COVID, and then I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I've lost my job. And I'm like, not even, nothing's happened, but that, and then, it keeps going. Everybody keeps talking and talking about it. And whilst it could be affecting think, oh, well, it's only, it's the owner of the business, it doesn't matter. But actually, matters to me because I'm employed. And I think from a working perspective, people don't really think about what they say and how it can impact on you. And actually, I couldn't agree more, Tim, to be fair. I think it's very important. Collaboration is key.
I think that's what it leads to at the end of the day. Taking that kind of compassionate approach to our competitors will lead to us then being able to collaborate.
Yeah.
There's a wonderful tip that I was given early in my career by a psychotherapist who gave me supervision. I'll never forget it. I just started in a new job. And there was lots of gossip and banter going around the rooms, usually about the people who weren't in the room.
Yeah.
And it got me to thinking, what are they saying about me when I'm not there?
Yeah.
And I asked this lady that question, are they talking about me? It made me think this question. And she said, well, of course they are. But it's up to you to decide to press on what they talk about and how they talk about you when you're not in the room. And I think, if you're putting someone else down when they're not in the room, then you're leaving yourself open to then somebody doing the same to you.
Yeah.
So it fosters that nature of interaction.
Yeah, definitely.
So getting to approach where we can collaborate and grow, I think, with our competitors and learn from our competitors as well. I think what's driving these two kind of outlooks and behaviors, I think one is threat. Yeah, the sense of actually I feel threatened by my competitors. So it's a fight and flight survival response that starts to come in there.
Yeah.
And I have to say, potentially the other one that comes to my mind might be greed as well. I kind of like, I want it all for myself.
Yes.
And I think the reality is that whatever trade we're in, as small businesses or even independent, what do you call them, solopreneurs.
Solopreneurs, yeah. So people on their own trying to build their own little empire.
Yeah. And whatever remit that's in, surely there's room for that to coexist along others that are doing the same. And that's only going to be better for then the consumer at the end of the day because they'll have options.
Yeah. I think it's down to personalities as well, isn't it? Because everybody's got different personalities and people's mindsets are different and everything. But actually, as a business, obviously from a networking side of things, obviously you see and you meet lots of different people, different businesses, different stages. Some people are employed like myself. And actually, it's about getting over all of those things that everybody thinks are a problem and realizing that they can help you. Because actually, if you work together, and I know there are some fantastic collaboration groups out there and people are doing stuff like that because they are sick of this, them and us kind of thing. And actually, I always say to everybody that I meet, I want to get to know you as a person before the business, because if I get to know you, then I know who you are going to fit with better.
Mm.
And actually, it doesn't make any odds if that person, let's say it's an accountant and they're fantastic at what they do, if you don't get on with that person, you're not really going to work very well with them. But actually, the next person that you know, you could say, actually, this person would be great for you to work with. And also, if the accountants themselves, which I met a lady the other day that's relocating from Leicester, and she specifically come to Cornwall because she wants to meet other accountants, because she wants to collaborate. And I was like, this is awesome, because this is what it should be. It shouldn't be that, one person in one industry and all of that. It's just bonkers. And as I say, I think what you're saying is spot on, really. And you don't realise how much of an impact it has you do when you switch off and you're not working, and then you're still thinking about all these things. So yeah.
Well, it's that mindset that we then carry on into ourselves, isn't it? With our mental health, that starts to impact, our outlook. Do we become kind of negative minded or defensive more generally, because that's the stance we're taking at work?
Yeah.
And I always tried to not take it to heart. If somebody turned to me and said, actually, this isn't working, you're not the right person for me, I acknowledge I can't be, and I never would be, the right person to support everybody. Because, like you say, individual connections and variations are important within that. And the other thing I just wanted to mention around this, it kind of draws in imagine if you're sat in an award ceremony and you've been shortlisted for an award, and you don't win, but your competitor does. What feelings do you sit with in that room at that moment when your competitor goes up and collects the award? Is it a kind of disdain, yeah, it should have been me, or is it actually good for them, and taking that mindset? Because again,
it should be the latter, shouldn't it? Really, well, that's my brain works. But you see it on the TV, don't you? When the celebrities and they win, and then they're like, and their face just says it all, because they're like, I should have won that. But actually, everybody's got an opportunity, haven't they?
But you're saying, given that example, when somebody's then watching that and seeing you in that response, how do they then take that forward, their perception of you? I think actually, cool, they're a bit bitter, they're a bit disgruntled there because they didn't win. But actually, it all drives forward with our mental health again, doesn't it? Because it all ties in. And trying to kind of be, I don't know if anybody can be, work and home anymore, because things are all so messed up, especially at the moment. So it's about how we protect our mental health from our approaches that we take in the workplace, really.
Well, I think that's spot on, isn't it? In the sense of, like, people don't think about that, what you just said there. So they do these things, but they don't think about the actions of how something that you do can then affect actually not only yourself but other people in the process, because everyone's busy and they're just doing their thing. And a lot of time, I don't think people realise that some of the things that they say or do, because it doesn't matter to them, actually would have an effect on you. And whilst I don't think everybody should be sort of like, just following, if you like, and doing what everybody else does, we've all got to have our own minds. We do have to be mindful of the fact that somebody could be more sensitive to something than what you are. But again, it's learning, because in the past it's never been like that, has it? And people haven't had to. But it's looking, and even this, when I looked at what this was about, compassion and competition, I'm thinking, well, I don't see the link with mental health, actually. But when you explained it, I'm like, yeah, you don't think about these things. It's something that just wouldn't even enter most people's heads, really. But actually, the people that are affected by it, they could go away feeling quite sad. And like you said, not taking things to heart. I've always been like that. I've always taken things to heart. And it's only recently that I'm learning actually to just, do you know what? If people are talking about me and they don't like me, that's not my problem. That's theirs, because I am me and I'm going to be how I am. And I guess that isn't always possible for everybody, is it? Some people aren't like that, and it will really, really weigh them down and can cause so much more stress and anxiety and all the rest of it. No,
Yeah,
that's all.
it's a big shift in mindset to take that, isn't it? That
Yeah,
step of acceptance of actually, I don't care what people think
it
about
is
me
very
because I'm me.
yeah,
And
yeah,
you know, and I'm now, you know, getting on to my mid 40s, and I'm kind of at that zone. Well, you know, this is who I am. So who am I trying to impress by being anybody else? And you know,
exactly.
and I think, you know, it's not just to say how it affects our mindset, but it's how others will then perceive us, view
Yeah,
us. You know, if
yeah,
we're interacting with someone and saying, you know, I've got a negative outlook about others, then and the point you make as well about how we can be sensitive to that negativity, we all do it,
yeah,
Lisa.
yeah,
You know, if you've got 10 responses from people and 9 of them are positive, you go home thinking about the negative one.
yeah,
Just like if we're looking at reviews, you know, this next holiday I'm going on, you know, how quickly do we scroll to the negative views? Say, oh dear, oh, 1 out of 100, but we want
yeah,
to see what that person said.
yeah,
So we need to kind of eliminate that from ourselves, I think. And
yeah, definitely. Well, it's definitely food for thought, and I would imagine that this will help a lot of people actually, because you know, as I say, there'll be people out there that have even got well established businesses and working on their own.
mm,
They might not, you know, that they might be mulling over things in their head and thinking, oh, what have I said or done or whatever. And no, it's really good. I'm loving this. This is the first mentor session with you,
yeah,
and I think that's fantastic. And I'm looking forward to the next one already.
yeah,
So
me too.
thank you very
Lovely.
much, lovely. And I'll see you again next time.
Lovely. See you
Thank
soon. Take
you.
care.
Bye.
Bye.